The MV Doña Paz was a Philippine passenger ferry that met a tragic fate on the night of the 20th of December 1987, resulting in the deadliest peacetime maritime disaster in history. The ship was traveling from Tacloban, Leyte to Manila for the Christmas season, carrying far more passengers than its certified capacity allowed. Officially, the manifest listed around 1,500 passengers, but later investigations revealed that as many as 4,300 people were on board. Many passengers were unlisted because of duplicate ticket sales and informal boarding practices, a systemic issue in the Philippine maritime industry at that time. The ferry had originally been built in Japan in 1963. Later purchased and operated by Sulpicio Lines, one of the largest shipping companies in the country. On the evening of the disaster, the weather was clear but seas were choppy. Survivors later reported that many passengers were resting or asleep when, at around 10:30 p.m., the MV Doña Paz collided with the Mount Vector, a small oil tanker carrying over 1 million liters of gasoline and other petroleum products. The Vector was reportedly unseaworthy, operating without proper licenses and allegedly manned by an unqualified crew. Upon impact, the tanker's cargo ignited, creating an immediate explosion and fireball. Flames spread rapidly across the water and onto the ferry, consuming both ships in an inferno. Inside the Doña Paz, chaos erupted. Survivors described hearing a loud crash, followed instantly by explosions and a spreading fire that engulfed the ferry in minutes. Many passengers panicked as the lights went out and thick smoke filled the corridors. Efforts to find life jackets were futile, as reports claimed they were either locked away or inaccessible. Lifeboats could not be launched in time because of the rapid spread of the fire. Trapped by heat and smoke, many passengers jumped into the sea, only to find themselves surrounded by burning fuel on the water's surface. Out of thousands on board, only a handful managed to survive by swimming away and clinging to debris until rescued by passing vessels hours later. The immediate cause of the disaster was the collision with the oil tanker, but deeper investigations uncovered a chain of negligence and systemic issues. The Vector was found to be unfit for service, lacking proper paperwork and licenses, and its crew's competence was questioned. The ferry itself was dangerously overcrowded, and there were allegations that Doña Paz's officers were not maintaining a proper watch at the time of the collision. Survivors even claimed the crew had been watching television or drinking, highlighting a grave lapse in duty. The combination of an unseaworthy tanker, poor seamanship, and an overcrowded ferry with lax safety standards proved catastrophic. The official death toll remains debated because of the inaccurate manifest. Initial reports suggested around 1,500 deaths, but subsequent investigations and family claims pushed the number to between 4,300 and 4,385 lives lost. Only a few dozen passengers and crew survived, making it the single worst loss of life in maritime history during peacetime. The sheer scale of the tragedy shocked the Philippines and the international community, drawing attention to the lax enforcement of safety standards in the shipping industry. Legal and political fallout followed the disaster. Philippine authorities investigated both Sulpicio Lines, the ferry operator, and the owners of the Vector. The Marine Board of Inquiry eventually placed primary responsibility on the Vector for being unseaworthy and improperly operated. However, blame was also shared with Doña Paz's crew for failure in watchkeeping duties. For the families of the victims, compensation became a long and difficult process. Many accused the shipping company and government of negligence and indifference, claiming that justice was never fully served. Beyond legal battles, the tragedy left a deep mark on Philippine society. Entire families perished in the accident, leaving countless communities devastated. Each year, the anniversary of the disaster is remembered by survivors and relatives of the victims. Documentaries, academic studies, and investigative reports have since analyzed the incident as a textbook case of how poor regulation, corporate negligence, and human error can combine to produce catastrophic results. The lessons from the MV Doña Paz disaster remain relevant today. Strict enforcement of passenger limits and accurate manifests are vital to ensure safety and accountability. Proper watchkeeping on ships and adequate training for crews are essential to prevent collisions. Hazardous cargo like gasoline should never be carried on poorly maintained vessels, and routes must be carefully regulated when passenger ferries and oil tankers share the same waters. Finally, life-saving equipment must always be accessible, and crews must conduct drills so that passengers can be evacuated efficiently in emergencies. The Doña Paz tragedy is not just a story of an accident at sea. It is a reminder of what happens when safety is sacrificed for profit and regulations are ignored. It stands as a warning for maritime operators worldwide about the devastating consequences of negligence. More than 30 years later, the memory of thousands lost in the Tablas Strait continues to haunt the Philippines, serving as a call to uphold the highest standards of maritime safety and responsibility. In the early years of the 20th century, the race for dominance on the seas was at its peak.